What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Basics. In this series, we're taking a look at the hinge, one of the big compound exercises that I feel should be a pillar in any great strength training and workout regimen. Last week, we took a look at the standard hip hinge and we talked about the prerequisites, and if you don't meet them, to come check this video out. So I hope that's what led you here today. If you need to work on these things, I'm going to address them one by one and show you how we can build them up and get us to hip hinge pain-free. As always, if you find this content helpful, please like and subscribe and share with anybody you think might benefit from going back to basics. So just like we addressed the initial setup, we're going to address our faults from the ground up. So the first thing we talked about is once we're barefoot, I want to get my big toe, pinky toe, and heel engaged hard in the ground. The first fault is some people will be unable to maintain that foot arch and their ankle will collapse inwards. Now this fix is very easy. All you do is get in that tall standing position and we can practice getting into that activated arch position by getting up on the outside edge of the foot and really engaging the outside of the leg. It seems simple because it is, but it's so often overlooked that people tend to build this exercise up to tremendous amounts of weights with no base underneath them, with no foundation. Starting at the feet is how we build our foundation to make sure we can do it safe. The next thing that tends to happen is people will fold forward and have a hard time feeling it in their backside. And that makes sense. We don't tend to use our glutes or hamstrings a lot in day-to-day life. So what I like to do is have somebody come down to the ground now and we can practice glute bridges. Now, glute bridging is a great way to activate our glutes and posterior chain in a way that we don't in our day-to-day lives. We can also lengthen out the foot position from the hip in the glute bridge to engage more of the hamstring and make it more applicable to the standing hinge. Our next regression is somebody who has a hard time keeping their shins perpendicular. So the reason we want to keep our shins at a 90-degree angle or perpendicular to the ground is that as my shins shift forward, that engages the quadriceps more and takes the load off of the hamstrings and glutes, which is our target muscle group. So the fix for this is really easy. All I need is a bench and a wall. What I do is set that bench in front of me and keep my wall behind me. So I use them as what's called proprioceptive cues. So that means they give me a feeling from outside of my body to let me know when I've reached the desired position. So as I hinge back, I want to make sure my knees aren't knocking over the bench and I want to get back until my butt hits that wall. From there, we stop for a moment, try to engage those glutes and come on up. Using this tip, you'll be hip hinging properly in no time. The next problem we see people having is at the lower back. They'll hinge forward and they have a really hard time maintaining neutrality. Now, how do we fix that? We're going to use a proprioceptive cue, and that's going to be to use your hands or a weight belt and secure a dowel to your back. What this does is it gives you a cue for where your glutes, your upper back curvature, and your cervical curvature should end up. Now, if I'm maintaining neutrality, I should have a nice slight contact between my butt, my upper back, and my head. That is because that's how the natural curvature of the spine should go. If you're starting to lose that contact, or you're starting to feel it in other places, that means that we're overextending and we can address that. But first we got to find out. Our last regression doesn't address any one of these in particular, but rather the movement as a whole. So what we can do is take either a bench or a chair and our phone. That's all we need. What I'll do is I'll keep the bench or chair set up in front of me and use it to lighten the load as I go through my hinge. Now I can use my hands to support my chest so I don't have to worry about lifting my whole body weight. And my phone is going to film me. So I'll do 4, 5, 6 reps, whatever you feel comfortable with. After you're done with your set, I want you to go back and watch it. Now, once you watch it, you can see, are my shins moving forward? Is my butt shooting forward? Is my lower back rounding? All these things we can address by seeing it first, right? We have to know what's wrong before we can fix it. And once you know what's wrong, we can go back to this video and you find the regression that fixes the problem you see. All right, I hope you found this video helpful. Those are just a few regressions that can help you get up to hip hinging pain-free, unassisted in no time. If you like this content, share with somebody you think might benefit from going back to basics. And be sure to like and subscribe. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Time to Train. For Back to Basics, I'm Coach Ron, and I'll see you next week.